Let me give you a perspective that most people in telecom infrastructure are totally missing right now. Over the past 6 months, we've seen close to 15,000 jobs cut at Verizon, multi-wave restructuring at T-Mobile, a 20% workforce reduction at Crown Castle, global realignment across Nokia and Ericsson. And most people look at that and say, this is a workforce correction. It's not. It's a leadership reset. Because what's actually happening right now is way deeper. AI is accelerating a shift from legacy scale to agile to automated operations. Companies are compressing layers, they're removing structure, they're investing in systems, but they're not redesigning leadership at the same pace. That gap is where companies are starting to break. Let's get very clear on what's happening structurally. This isn't random cost cutting. This is a coordinated operating model shift. Verizon's removing layers and reinvesting into AI. For T-Mobile, it's restructuring around digital first execution. Charter is flattening corporate overhead. Crown Castle is reacting to capital pressure. All at the same time, AI is taking over customer triage, network monitoring, operational workflows, and that creates a new reality. The system is becoming the operator and the leader is becoming the orchestrator. Here's where this gets critical. The infrastructure space is not moving uniformly. Large public companies are optimizing. Mid-sized companies have unstable growth pressure, while small companies have leadership dependency risk. And that's where leadership diverges. Leadership is not a one size fits all. One of the biggest mistakes I've seen with leaders right now is this. They try to apply the same leadership model across completely different company sizes. That doesn't work anymore because leadership is not static. It's directly tied to revenue scale, team size, operational complexity. Leadership is not a philosophy, it's a system constraint. And that system changes as the company grows. Let me give you some examples of this. From $1 million to $10 million level, leadership is everything. This is the startup mentality. There's no system, there's no redundancy, there's no middle layer. The leader is the system. What leadership looks like here is direct decision making, founder led execution, speed pivots, constant prioritization. The reality, every hire changes the culture, every miss is visible, and every leader mistake is totally amplified. And this is where many infrastructure startups struggle. They hire for experience, but they don't define the structure. They assume leadership will just scale automatically without building a system for it. And here's the risk: founder dependency, burnout, lack of process discipline. Now let's move to the next stage, $10 million to $50 million, the most volatile stage, in my opinion. This is the most important section for most of you because this is where most of the infrastructure companies sit. And this is where most of the leadership absolutely breaks. I've seen companies double in revenue in under 18 months. And almost every time, leadership became the constraint, not the opportunity. Why? Because the stage is deceptive. From the outside, it looks like success, but from the inside, it feels like absolute chaos. Headcount doubles quickly. New layers are introduced way too fast. Culture gets diluted and communication starts breaking. You go from everyone knows everything to no one knows who owns what. Leadership failure patterns are at this stage, promoting strong operators into weak leaders, hiring big company talent into undefined roles, the lack of accountability structure, over reliance on a few key individuals. Here's the key shift required. You must move from a personality driven leadership to a structure driven leadership. The risk, if you don't, you'll have internal politics, execution gaps, client inconsistency, and margin erosion. Next phase, $50 million to $250 million in revenue. Now the company is real. There is structure. There are departments. There's leadership management levels. There's leaders managing leaders. There's a board. Here's the problem. Structure increases faster than clarity. This is where companies don't fail loudly, they slow down. What starts happening? Decision latency increases, communication fragments, silos begin forming, accountability blurs. Here's the leadership requirements. Alignment becomes more important than the activity itself. The best companies at this stage define clear ownership. They standardize communication cadence. They build repeatable systems. The worst companies, they add layers without redefining roles. They protect weak leadership. They play politics, allowing confusion to scale. And here's the last model, 500 million plus. These are not leadership light organizations, they're system heavy organizations. At this level, leadership is no longer about control, it's about system design. What defines success here? Process consistency, operational discipline, capital allocation, strategic alignment. And the challenges that they face, leaders are farthest from execution, which creates decision detachment, cultural inconsistency, slower adaptability. And that's why you're seeing workforce compression, the layer removal of middle management, AI integration. Now, let's connect all of this across every stage. The layers are being removed, systems are being automated, workforces are being restructured, but leadership is still being applied like nothing changed. That is the infrastructure leadership gap. The companies that win in this next cycle will not be the ones that restructure the fastest. They'll be the ones that redesign leadership to match the workforce because the workforce has already changed. Leadership must change with it. And if you're leading inside a telecom, infrastructure, or growth stage company right now, and you're feeling the pressure of scale, structure, and leadership breakdown, subscribe to the Modern Workforce Leader and follow the Clarity Advantage. Let's talk about what leadership looks like in your world right now, because this is not just a business cycle, it's a leadership reckoning. And the companies that get it right will define the next decade. And if you enjoyed this episode, please follow and subscribe. We appreciate your comments, your feedback, and what you'd like to see in the next show. Also, please check out some of these other videos that we have. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks.